Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Friday, the 25th of July, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your thread to expand your mind with treechat.ai. All your posts put on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. We've got to read through these articles because a friend of mine just sent me these and he said that these are AI generated answers in relation to, is BTC a fork of the real Bitcoin? That was put in, so we'll have a read through that. Got another one, AI generated BSV price forecast, legal and economic model, including current court dates and case development. And this is what the AI came up with. So we'll just read through that, see what's going on. We've got to talk about, one of the biggest BSV wallets receiving a transaction from a wallet address beginning with iceberg. That's absolutely hilarious. And it looks like Galaxy Digital has dumped about $900 million worth of BTC today, and it's still going. And there's more and more of that coming out. Somebody else also said another whale from 2011 just woke up and sold 14,000 BTC. Like, WTF, what on earth is going on? We'll just report on some of these posts here from CSW's previous posts. This is in 2024. BitCrash pointing out how more dormant addresses are waking up. Again, we'll probably touch on the CipherTux article again. BitCrash pointing out that a lost number 8, Block 8 address just received a Solomon Brothers notice. They're still actively handing out notices. Rob Moore is just going on about how Britain's debt is closing in on $3 trillion. We'll talk about the fact that how the cabal seem to have removed this 80,000 BTC turning point article by CipherTux. The archive is no longer there. We'll read through Craig's Substack here on micropayments, immutable data, and the economic revolution of net or near zero transaction costs. We've got some 365 days of Bitcoin history, and then we'll finish with a Kellen Schweller countdown as usual. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Alrighty, here we go. Right, I'm quite looking forward to reading through this. So this was a question put into, I think it might have been ChatGTP, but anyway, it's an honest AI, if there is such a thing. And he sent me this because he was quite surprised at the answer that he got. So he said, is BTC a fork of the real Bitcoin? So let's check out what AI said regarding this. The answer was yes. BTC, Bitcoin Core, is legally and technically a soft fork of the original protocol described in Satoshi Nakamoto's 2008 white paper entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Clarification under law and technical framework. 1. Original Protocol 2009, released by Satoshi Nakamoto and under MOT open source license. The protocol outlined a scalable, low-fee peer-to-peer cash system. Unalterable timestamped ledger using proof of work. 2. BTC, ticker symbol, controlled and maintained by Bitcoin Core developers who modified the original protocol from 2010 onwards. Well, they didn't actually modify the protocol, but it was 2010 that they implemented the 1 megabyte soft cap. So it didn't actually, because it wasn't hard coded in. We didn't see a change in the legacy addresses, but yeah, the AI could be right here. It imposed block size limits, 1 megabyte, segregated witness. Well, that wasn't until 2017, and layer 2 solutions like Lightning Network. These alterations broke the original script functionality, limiting Bitcoin's use as digital cash. 3. Fork definition. In software and legal IP terms, a fork occurs when the original source code is copied and altered, creating a new path. BTC qualifies as a protocol fork and is not the unaltered continuation of Satoshi's original chain. 4. The real Bitcoin protocol implementations. BSV Bitcoin Satoshi Vision claims to follow the original protocol without alteration, restoring full script functionality and allowing unlimited scaling. It is legally recognized as the original protocol per court rulings such as Kleiman versus Wright, Florida 2021, and Wright versus McCormack, UK 2022, affirming Craig Wright as inventor, contested but relevant to a lineage. Legal summary: BTC Bitcoin Core is a derivative work, thus a fork. It is not the original Bitcoin as defined by the 2008 white paper. The real Bitcoin is the protocol that adheres strictly to the original white paper and implementation. That protocol has been restored and continued in the Bitcoin SV, BSV. Wow. AI actually learning there. That's literally one of the most honest AI answers I've ever heard. Check it out. So let's continue on to this one. He said, BSV price forecast, legal and economic model, including current court dates and case developments. This is the AI generated answer. So here we go. AI said, legal and economic context, total supply 21 million coins, same as BTC. Protocol lineage, BSV maintains the original Bitcoin protocol as released in 2009. Legal relevance, BSV's claim as the original Bitcoin is actively under review in the UK and international courts. Economic function, global utility ledger for digital cash, micropayments, smart contracts and regulated data. Current court proceedings, 1 Coper versus Wright. Jurisdiction, UK High Court of Justice, Chancery Division. Claimant, Crypto Open Patent Alliance. Defendant, Dr. Craig Stephen Wright. Claim that Dr. Wright is not the author of the Bitcoin white paper. Total duration, 5th of February 2024 to 15th of March 2024. Judgment pending, said expected in late 2025, although I don't think that's going to come anymore. I'm guessing maybe that would have been Craig's appeal that I don't think is going forward. Relevance, central to determining legal authorship of the Bitcoin protocol and white paper, a ruling in favor of Dr. Wright could establish BSV's legal claim to the Bitcoin identity. And again, so if you click on this link, I think the link's actually been removed. Page not found. Alright. Tulip Trading Limited versus Bitcoin developers. Jurisdiction, UK Supreme Court, following an earlier Court of Appeal ruling. Issue whether Bitcoin developers owe fiduciary duties to users under English common law. Next hearing stage, Supreme Court judgment pending permission. Relevance, could impact protocol governance and establish a duty of care around maintaining original Bitcoin protocol access. Exhibit B, we got UK Supreme Court UK cases. Okay, that's not it. Price scenarios. Scenario description. Estimated price range. This is 2026 price scenarios. Well, whatever. Conservative, partial legal clarity, slow institutional adoption. $300 to $1,000. Base case legal recognition of BSV as original protocol, moderated adoption $1,000 to $10,000. Aggressive global lawful adoption as financial and data ledger $10,000 to $50,000. Base case explanation, BTC market cap $1 trillion. If BSV captures 10 to 20% of the valuation post judgment. $1 billion divided by 90 million coins equals 5,263 per BSV. $2 billion, 90 million coins, 10,526 per BSV. Catalyst for price correction. Final judgments in UK courts confirming protocol authorship. Regulatory authorities enforcing proper asset classification. Exchanges correcting protocol attribution. Institutional use of BSV for data compliance, tokenization and micropayments. Migration from BTC due to fee congestion and scalability limits. Summary position, BSV represents the continuation of the lawful Bitcoin protocol by code function and economic design. Pending legal outcomes and institutional realignment will likely trigger a multi-stage market revaluation. BSV's price correction will occur not through speculation, but through the restoration of title, legal authorship, and global utility demand. That's not far off, really, considering it's AI. Oh, Not bad at all. All right, check this out. So Crypto Crates just said here, got a look at this. The biggest BSV wallet just received a transaction from address starting with 1CEBERG, which spells iceberg. That's hilarious. The statistical probability to have such a random address is virtually non-existent. Do you have enough yellow life jackets for your loved ones and orange life jackets for your haters? Look at that. That is absolutely hilarious. Let's have a look at this what's on chain address. If this is the link to it. Oh, there we go. Look. Address. That's absolutely hilarious. Iceberg. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Details, analytics. Yeah, 25th of July, 2025. Excellent. Look, address iceberg. Loving that. Loving that. Received 0.1 BSV. I wonder if that's just that is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. So I said the biggest BSV wallet just received the transaction from that. I wonder what they're saying the biggest wallet is. The biggest wallet. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Oh, that's gotta go down in history. That is ace. That's gonna go into my 365 days of Bitcoin history. Iceberg. Love it on it. I love the humor in this space. I just love it. I love it. Right, let's have a look at this. So Ken Eth just said Galaxy Digital Marketing dumped about $900 million worth of BTC today, and it's still ongoing. This marks their largest dump since acquiring the 80,000 BTC last week. Like, who dumps $900 million worth of BTC? Literally just after acquiring 80,000 BTC last week. Who does that? I mean, has something spooked them? I mean, you know, if they knew the information I had, then they would be extremely spooked. But have they got that? Have they figured it out? Do they know what's going on? And Ken Eth also said here, they're accelerating 600 million transferred out in the last 20 minutes alone. 4 billion left to go. They are dumping hand over fist. Like, what on earth? He said relentless selling continues, about 2.2 billion left. Whoa. Whoa. They are literally just trying to get out. They're just trying to get out. More coming. Whoa. What on earth has spooked them? Something has spooked them big time. And Thomas Fahara also said another whale from 2011 just woke up and sold 14,000 BTC. What on earth? What on earth? Look at that. 200, 230, 350, 300, 270, 150. Whoa. All Galaxy Digital. Look at that. Bybit deposit, Bitstamp deposit, Bybit, Binance deposit. Jeepers. And where are they going here? Bybit, Binance, OKX, Bitstamp, Galaxy Digital, Binance, OKX. Bybit, Bitstamp, Bybit, Bitstamp, Binance. Binance, 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 OKX. Wow. That is massive dumping. Massive dumping. Wow. Well, before the end of the show then, we'll have to look at the price, see what's going on there. Check this one out. So CSW said here, back in on the 12th of December 2024, he said, the purpose of Bitcoin, let me guess, slow it down, jack up the fees, slap a store of value sticker on it and call it a day. Brilliant, really. A digital cash system turned into the world's most inefficient savings account. And then to top it off, they tried to hide behind anonymity, rip out traceability and dress it up as freedom. Freedom for who? The scammers, the tax cheats, the crooks. That's not Bitcoin, that's just a broken shadow of it. Bitcoin wasn't meant to be a damn monument. It was supposed to move, to work, to transact. But you've got these clowns trying to shoehorn their fantasies into it, making it something it was never supposed to be. It's not progress, it's sabotage. And the worst part, they know it. They've buried the purpose under layers of garbage and called it evolution. But what they've really done is killed the vision and put a price tag on the corpse. Absolutely. Absolutely. He knows. He knows. Let's see what that was in response to. This was in response to James Lop when he'd said the purpose of Bitcoin is blank, blank, blank. And it has failed at that. The reasonable man adapts himself to Bitcoin. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt Bitcoin to himself. Honestly, just adaptation. Yeah, absolute BS there from James Lop. But CSW absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. He knows, and we know that he knows. Yes, indeed. All right, Big Crash has also said here, 3 dormant BTC addresses since December 2020 moved 10,603 coins. These addresses did not receive Solomon Brothers notices. So they've not received the notices. That's 3,021, 4,018 BTC, 3,564 BTC. Wow. Address 1886 QIX. All right, so these are the addresses. The 1ENY. All the transactions in them. Incredible, incredible. Check this out. So this was the cabal trying to get rid of, literally just trying to get rid of all the information in CypherTux's article. Where was it? Maybe we'll come back to that one. Yeah, let's. This is what we wanted. So here it is. So this was the article. All the information that was in it, you know, including the FUCK address and the lost numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42 and all that. There it is. There's the FCUK address. Brilliant. Or FUCK address. Yeah, and the technical hypothesis, the P2PKH flaw finally exposed. I think that's what they didn't like. That's what they didn't like at all. That's what they wanted rid of. And they're so desperate to get rid of it. Look. Oh no, the archive is still there. You beauty. You beauty. If anybody wants to copy that, I would highly recommend it. Let's copy this bad boy, you know, and get as many copies replicated and stored as we can, because they'll be wanting to take that down. Yes, they will. Yeah, they will. Wow. But anyway, enjoy it while it's still there. Excellent stuff. In the meantime, BitCrush said lost number 8, a block 8. A block 8 address just received Solomon Brothers notice. They're still actively handing out notices. So this is a block 8, one of the original, literally block 8. See if we can find it. Is it around here somewhere? Oh well. Legal notice to wallet owner. Go to webpage Solomon Brothers. You know, again, we'll find out what's going on. And he said here, BTC block addresses 1 to 7, 10 to 15 received the Solomon Brothers notices. So why didn't block 8 and 9 addresses receive the notice? Right, and he's just said that block 8 has also received the notice. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. Right, let's carry on then with a bit more news. Rob Moore said Britain's national debt is closing in on $3 trillion, or £3 trillion. We're borrowing 140 billion this year, but 110 billion of that is just to pay interest on the debt we already owe. Well, to who? Again, it's all fiat currency. There's no doubt in it. That's like taking out a new credit card to pay the minimum on your old one. 70% of what we borrow now goes on interest alone. How long can this last? I mean, Rob doesn't really understand the economy all that much. Doesn't really understand the fraud of fiat currency. You know, but I mean, this is why newbies get their knickers in a twist about it. I mean, they're pointing out to all these, you know, sheeple, if you want, NPCs who don't really know what's going on. National debt. Oh, national debt. Well, you need to combat the national debt by pointing out there is no debt because it's all fraud, and fraud vitiates everything. There is no debt because you can't have a debt from something with no substance that you make from nothing. Promissory notes, digital pieces of crap. But, you know, the powers that be don't want to tell you that, do they? Right, let's have a quick look at CSW's Substack here. Probably won't have time to get through all of it, but he says micropayments, immutable data, and the economic revolution of near zero transaction costs. 1 cent revolution, how micropayments and immutable proof rewrite the economics of data. Yeah, some key words there. 1. Introduction. Data is no longer a byproduct, no longer the waste that leaks out of machines and people and quietly drowns in the shadows of corporate silos. It is the raw currency of the digital age, pulsing through wires and clouds like blood through veins. Imagine a world where each shard of data, every sensor reading, every click, every fragment of human thought digitized can be traded for a hundredth of a US cent. The price is small enough to be almost nothing, yet the sum of these fragments becomes colossal. Bukowski would call it filthy, like coins scrapped from the gutter, while Rand would see it as the rational expression of value. The individual claiming the rightful wage for every sliver of creation. Immutable, provable exchanges, each marked with an unbroken evidence trail, kill the parasite of doubt. They dissolve the fog from information, a symmetry that distorts markets, replacing blind trust with verifiable proof. Transaction theory tells us that when costs of exchange vanish, markets expand with a ruthless efficiency, shattering the monolith that exists only to internalize friction. The thesis here is simple and merciless. Reducing transactional friction to negligible levels ignites entire new market structures, dragging hidden value into the light. It transforms the architecture of commerce, rewrites the calculus of risk, and realigns incentives, forcing individuals and corporations to act in the clarity of proof, where every transaction, no matter how small, leaves its indelible mark. 2 theoretical underpinnings. Transaction cost economics is the knife that carves through the fat of modern markets. Ronald Coase, the nature of firm, argued that firms exist because market transactions are costly. Negotiating, enforcing, and verifying contracts bleeds time and resources. When transaction costs fall towards zero, the logic of the firm starts to crumble. Market condition, with its swarm of decentralized actors, becomes not viable but superior. The hierarchy, with all its bloated bureaucrats and layers of inefficiency, is exposed for what it is, a structure built to hide the cost of its own friction. A micropayment system, charging a hundredth of a cent per provable data exchange, forces this reckoning. It silences the economic fabric so thin that the old structure no longer holds. Oliver Williamson sharpened Coase's insights, painting the landscape of markets with optimism and bounded rationality. Firms hoard control because individuals driven by self-interest might cheat, lie or twist the truth, but immutable, provable records kills opportunists like a well-placed bullet. When every action is cryptographically notarized and visible, the cost of a deception skyrockets. Yeah, it does indeed. The market can now rely on truth as a price so low it barely registers. A silent revolution that annihilates the excuse of hierarchy, or for hierarchy. Information economics adds another dimension. Akerlof's market for lemons showed how asymmetry of information destroys trust and value, while Spencer's aligning theory illustrated the desperate, costly dances agents perform to prove legitimacy. Immutable data and evidence trail turns signaling into trivial transaction. Proof is baked into the system, leaving no space for the rot of uncertainty. By removing asymmetry, these systems open new markets where exchanges was previously impossible, where lies the brutal beauty. When trust becomes cheap and proof is automatic, every transaction can stand naked under the light of variability. 3. Micropayments and price of data. Micropayments at the scale of hundredths of a cent shatter the monolithic pricing structure of the digital economy. They carve value into fragments so fine that even the smallest data packets, the fleeting heartbeat of an IoT sensor, a second half of a video stream, a single keystroke, can be priced and exchanged in real time. This granularity of value creates a market where nothing is too small to matter. It rejects the waste of bundled subscriptions and advertising models, replacing them with the ruthless precision of per byte and per event pricing. Bukowski would scoff at the smallness of the sum, but Rand would see the fierce integrity. A system where every unit of creation is recognized and rewarded, no matter how minute. The marginal cost of digital data reproduction is almost zero. Traditional economics would argue this makes pricing difficult. When supply is infinite, value collapses. Yet the mechanism of micropayments resists this collapse by introducing an incentive compatible structure. Even if the cost of duplication is negligible, the act of vandalism, the creation of immutable proof, and the guarantee of provenance becomes the service being paid for. This is not the price of bits, but the price of certainty, of verifiable existence. Each microtransaction becomes a handshake signed in iron, too cheap to matter individually, but powerful in aggregate. This model monetizes what has long been discarded as exhaust. IoT telemetry, temperatures, reading, motion, data, microsignals from autonomous machines suddenly carries a price. User-generated micro content, which once served as free fodder for data-hungry platforms, can now yield value directly to its creator, creating a decentralized flow of rewards that bypasses the middleman. The individual becomes the sovereign owner of their digital shadow. Price elasticity of demand for micro-information is extreme. As the price nears zero, the demand for fragments of data skyrockets. Long-tail market dynamics emerge. The Pareto distribution, which governs content consumption, now finds a new frontier. Rare niche data points that were previously ignored gained value because of the cost of accessing them is infinitesimal. The market no longer focuses on only blockbuster content or mass signals, but rewards every node in the chain, every whisper of information, every granular piece of context. This is capitalism sharpened to its purest edge, where even the smallest voice can be heard and priced. Oh wow, epic. 4 evidence trails and the economics of proof. The backbone of any functioning market is trust, and trust has always been expensive. It bleeds through legal systems, litigation, regulatory frameworks, and endless costs of ensuring that contracts are honoured and promises kept. Immutable evidence trails flip this equation. In game theoretic terms, the payoff matrix is altered. The cost of cheating overweighs any short-term gain because fraud leaves a permanent scar, visible to all participants. Disputes, once resolved through costly enforcement mechanisms, are preempted by a ledger that is both unalterable and public in its veracity. The transaction itself becomes self-enforcing. The ledger becomes the silent judge, the executioner of doubt. Principal agent theory, long plagued by asymmetry between those who act and those who must trust them, finds a new equilibrium. Traditionally, monetizing costs and incentive schemes are required to align the agent's interest with the principal's goals. Immutable, provable data annihilates much of this cost structure. Contracts can be written on the foundation of verifiable events, which each microtransaction acting as both performance indicator and payment. Trustless arrangements become not a theoretical ideal, but an operational norm. Econ- Econometrically, the system shifts from expectation under certainty to expectation under near certainty. Expected utility calculations gain precision because transaction history can be treated as an unbroken series of observable events, each verified and immutable. Bayesian updating, where beliefs about counterparties are adjusted based on new evidence, becomes sharper and more reliable. Every data point is proof, every exchange a signal that strengthens or weakens trust with mathematical clarity. The economics of proof fosters micro-incentivized honesty. When every lie has a cost and every truth a micro reward, market participants are nudged into transparent behavior. Creditworthiness ceases to be an opaque score and becomes a dynamic reflection of immutable actions. The result is a market where reputation is not built on declarations or promises, but on a chain of verified events, each a testament to integrity. Oh, this is epic. 5 global market transformation, 350 to 400 words. Yeah, we're nearly there. Let's do it. Impact on financial services, remittance markets, cross-border data commerce and content streaming, creative destruction in traditional payment networks, network effects no longer bottlenecked by high fixed fees, economies of scale versus scope, micro fees allow hyper-personalized pricing models, pay per byte per second streaming, networked IoT economies, autonomous machine-to-machine markets where every data point carries micro value. 6 societal and ethical dimensions. The commodification of data at the level of fractions of a cent stirs both promise and unease. On one side, the system liberates value from the overlooked microassets that spill from daily life, censors readings, casual comments, fleeting clicks, and now capable of earning their keep. On the other, the total monetization of human activity risks turning every gesture, every breath of digital existence into an economic transaction. Bukowski would sneer at the sterile arithmetic, calling out the grim underbelly of markets, where surveillance morphs into monetization and even privacy is auctioned off byte by byte. The anarchic mess of data becomes both a treasure trove and trap, where every interaction is mined, priced, and resold. Rand's lens, as in like Ayn Rand, from Atlas Shrugged, however, is unflinching and precise. To her, the creator of data, whether a writer, a driver, a censor, owned as a moral right to claim value over their creation. The act of pricing data is not an indignity, but a recognition of its worth. By replacing the charity of free services with the mechanism of direct reward, the individual steps out from under the shadows of centralized platforms that live off unpriced labor and captured attention. This redistribution of economic power strikes at the heart of rent-seeking giants. Platforms built on hoarding user data must confront a future where their monopolies are fractured by markets that price every contribution in real time. The result is a shift of agency. Users are no longer the product but the sovereign traders of their digital footprints. In this tension between the chaotic reality Bukowski captures, the fierce clarity Rand demands, lies the ethical frontier for micropayment era. 7. Conclusion. The collapse of transaction cost to near zero, combined with the ironclad permanence of immutable proof, signals the birth of a new economic order. This is not a minor adjustment at the margins of commerce, it is a fundamental rewrite of how value is measured, exchanged and defended. With micropayments clinching through the fat of traditional pricing models, every byte of information can stand on its own, valued not because of scale or monopoly, but because of its inherent utility. Immutable records lock each exchange into an indestructible narrative, stripping away the shadows where inefficiency and deceit once thrived. In the voice of Rand, this is the uncompromising recognition of reality, a market governed by evidence, not manipulation. Through Bukowski's lens, it's raw and unglamorous. Every whisper of information must earn its keep. Every transaction leaves its scar. Together, they speak of an economy where the strong architecture of verifiable truth smashes the parasites of obscurity, where both individuals and machines engage in commerce without the drag of doubt or weight of middlemen. This era belongs to those who create, prove and trade with clarity. A brutal but liberating marketplace forged in the fire of proof. What a fantastic article that was. That was epic. Right, that one's definitely going to be either that or that's going to have to be front. Oh, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. 35 minutes gone already. Just got 1 point here. Well, on the 25th of July 2010, we've got a point here regarding upgrade and stealing coins. Stealing coins. So this is from Satoshi Nakamoto. He said you'd still have to sign in with a public key. You need to find a collision using a public key from which you know the private key. When you claim a Bitcoin address transaction, you give your public key that matches the hash. Then you must sign with that key. Red's point is that it's easy to quickly generate insecure public keys, which you could break and find the private key after you find a collision. He points out that if the public key was required to be a secure one which must have required significant work to find the prime numbers, that would increase the strength above that of the hash function alone. Someone trying to brute force would have to take time generating a key for each attempt. Yeah, technical stuff, but that's Bitcoin history for you. Well, there we go. We'll leave it there. That is the end of the show. So we're finishing on the Kellen Schweller countdown, with it being the 25th of July 2025. We've got 55 days left of this countdown. Hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss all the shenanigans that hit between now and the end of this countdown. It's going to be epic. So until then, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you tuned in again on the next one.
2 years ago, you got SegWit, which we lied and cheated and stealed, and I was part of the lying and cheating and stealing to get SegWit, to get Lightning, which, by the way, had critical vulnerabilities and lost people's money.
The king still has one more move.
Remember, Bitcoin is BSV. Everything else is BS.